So for everybody in the call, Sathish is Director of Research and Operations at the National Cyber Defense Research Center in India. Did I get that right? It's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Good. You're also the founder of NGO, the Cyber School. That's an initiative by the World Cyber Health Organization. And Sathish has experience implementing SAMM in many projects, but has found it hard to carry out the interviews, covering all the business functions and security practices, and have teams that are maybe not familiar with SAMM understand the model. So he's created this dashboard to make it easy for everyone to set up SAMM and build a strategy to collect metrics and define the organization's security posture. So this is very useful. It should be fun. So
All right,
yours,
Sathish.
Sathish.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Morning, good evening, and good afternoon. So today I'm going to discuss about the improving the SAMM security posture, your software security posture. Either you already adopted or you're trying to adopt to SAMM within your particular project. Right. So I'm just going to walk you through all like what are the few difficulties that I face and how I try to overcome it, and now where we are in terms of the security roadmap. So about me, yes, I head the research and operations at the National Cyber Defense Research Center India, and apart from that, I work for one of the MNC as a cybersecurity architect, where I build the cybersecurity strategies. And I have an NGO where we provide free education for all the less privileged children in cybersecurity and programming skills and all. And then I work with the law enforcement on training them on cybersecurity, mentoring startups, and I have masters in cybersecurity, criminology, and psychology. And currently pursuing my PhD in neural networks and digital psychology. Yeah, that's brief. And to get started, I think most of you are already familiar with SAMM, the maturity model that will let you to, make sure that your entire project software security is taken care from the A to Z, right? Where it covers all of your model, all of your environment where you need to focus on particular area in terms of security. So where each and every business function has been defined, and where you can actually get deep and understand the security practices within each business function, and come up with the understand your maturity score, where you stand in terms of security. Usually when we first implemented SAMM, to be honest, we almost received only 0.5 scores, because we did not, then we understood we did not have a lot of things. We had a lot of loopholes. We had a lot of things that has to be addressed. We never had policy documents, or we never had a security roadmap or strategies. The one thing that I have seen still most of the company that does is security is always taken care at the end. When the product is about to release tomorrow, for example, right? They come to security team a day before the release, and they ask to perform the security assessments. They want the pen testing to be done. They want the static assessment to be done. They want the dynamic, everything done in a week. And sometimes you end up doing even threat modeling before production release. Right? So I've faced a lot of situation with many of the clients, because even that time they come only because they wanted to close the audit findings. right? It's not that they actually wanted to address the security issues. Most of the companies, unless they get breached, they don't understand the value of security. Right? It has always been difficult to convince each and every project stakeholders on security, because they put so much effort on development, and they put so much effort on testing the product. And one fine day, the auditor comes and says, no, this cannot go to production because you have a lot of security loopholes, right? So where the project team at the last minute, they wanted to have entire security thing done, right? Starting from the architecture review. There's no point in reviewing the architecture once the product is going to production, but they wanted to be done because they want to show a report to the auditors, right? But when we do the SAM, it is almost taken care in each and every stage. So you understand your project maturity status in each. And so if you have security testing, where the security testing is implemented and what has been performed so far, right? So when you gradually increase your maturity, you can actually see a complete roadmap has been set, and you can actually see a growth in the security posture of your entire project plan, right? Convincing this was very hard for me, for many of the clients. And they always think this as an extra burden, where you are involving the entire stakeholders in the project, where you will have to meet the policy. People, they don't have policy documents, so you'll have to help them creating policy documents. They never had a secure development training. Developers had no idea when building a security application. I've seen security products that are built by developers who don't have any security knowledge, right? At least a basic, the OWASP top 10, for example, right? So they don't have even the basic hygiene, which we saw in the early talk, right? So these are the things that wanted to be addressed for a very long time for me. So SAM was one of the beautiful framework that I came across, and where it helped us a lot in building this particular strategy, and implementing each and every corner security in each and every corner of the project plan, which gradually we achieved maturity more than 2. Currently, we are between 2.5 to 2.6. We're still trying to figure out a few of the things, because based on the business, this might vary. Few may not be applicable to your project. Few may be applicable, right? So basically, this will give you each and every security posture for your application or any project development. So we always had this project planning and implementing SAM, and then going about doing the secure architecture review, and then providing the proper development training. So before even the developer starts coding, we as soon as we have the project planning ready, so we make sure that we give a secure development training to each and every member that is involved in this particular project, right? So we carried this as a process, because in the initial days without SAM, this was very difficult for us. We never had any training for development program. We never performed threat. We did perform threat modeling and SAS, DAST, and all the pen testing and other things, but we always did at the end of the release, before the validation and release. So we were doing everything at the last minute. It was very difficult for us to convince even the project management team that this has to be embedded within the the agile, right? So we always had the issue of convincing the team in building this security roadmap. But when we implemented SAM, we still had a couple of issues. It was everything was good, but people started expecting something more, because They don't want just the spreadsheet, or it was always difficult for us to collaborate with all the 15 different business function and security practices team members, because each involves different team members. You have for production release, you have different team. For operations, you have different team. For policies, you have different team, and sometimes you don't have a team at all, right? So you'll have to create it from the scratch. And then for security testing, of course, we have a different team. So each had different teams, and you'll have to interact with all of these stakeholders, and you'll have to convince them. And they end up providing a bunch of any questions that you say you have a valid policy document. They start giving us policy documents, but are we properly reviewing these policy documents, right? Who has to review this document? So they simply go about saying, yes, we give the training to the so when we come to the business function security training, we always end up getting answers, yes, we train our employees. But when we started reviewing the content of what they were training, the contents were very old. They were using the old for example OWASP 2013, right? So the content, the PPT has never changed. It was same, where they do it for everybody as a standard practice. So we wanted to highlight all of this. So that's when we wanted, I felt that we need to have something different. So that's when we started building different dashboards where it can, it was very easy to convince management when I showed the scores in the dashboard, because they always felt this colorful thing hitting their mind when I told them that your score level is 1.2, and when I showed them in the dashboard in a big screen, they felt little happy, and they were okay to get them satisfied. And it was always wanted to have different reports. You wanted to have a report only to send it to the operations team, right? You don't have to send the entire spreadsheet to them. So they don't have to look at all the other security scores. So we created individual reporting module where we wanted to give it to the individual business functions. And it was always difficult to coordinate between the multiple stakeholders, since it involved a lot of business functions and different security practices. Right? And we wanted to notify each and every team instantly if there are any score update, any maturity level increase or decrease, and how you can actually integrate with the your existing roadmap. And reviewing the artifacts was very difficult for us, and maintaining the copy of all the artifacts that we reviewed was again a big headache, where we'll have to store all these data. We'll have to review the artifacts that is provided by each and every business functions and the security practices. And again, once we review the artifacts, it was always email communication for us. We need to tell them, no, you have to update this, you have to update that, right? So we were having a lot of mail chains and multiple conversations to explain them what is what and what we need exactly, right? And then finally convincing the team, because they don't want to have anything on security. They want to build the product and they want to go live. But as security team, we know what exactly that we need to do. We always try to find the security loopholes and make sure that when the product goes live, we should make sure that all the security loopholes are remediated. So that's when we actually built this dashboard, where we have different varieties of dashboards, and you can actually have a scoring mechanism in a different views, where you can show it to the management on the progress on a regular. So you don't have to share multiple conversations. you'll have to, you can just create the login and share it with them so that they can log into the portal and directly update their scores, whatever the scores that they're currently working on each business functions, right? So I'll walk you through the entire product again. So let me quickly. So I hope you can see the screen. So this is the dashboard that we built, where you can see the entire application. The SAMM application is uploaded to this particular the entire framework is uploaded to this particular dashboard, right? Where you can see on a single view, you can see what are your current maturity scores in each of the security practices. What is your score on compliance? What is your score on strategy and metrics, threat assessment, right? So this will give you a complete overview of your entire security posture. Right. So again, you have this business functions here where you can see your readiness achieved score, and then you can see the readiness gap. So this is your readiness gap, and this is your readiness achieved, which means that the maturity level that you're currently in and the maturity level that you have to achieve, that is there in the readiness gap. So again, you can see this based on the month wise, which month what actually happened, when on which date what has been uploaded, and you can actually have the overall view of what is the score level that is. So if you see on March, you had almost like 7.89 scores. Overall scores has been upgraded, right? So you can see all that here, and you can customize what.
Satish Seba here. I'm not sure if you're actually showing your screen. I think we're seeing a background. Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. No problem. There. But maybe you'd want to skip to the yeah.
Can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah,
now we see it.
Seeing the browser now. So at least
we're seeing the browser
I think that's
now.
that.
Yes.
Yeah. And now we see your cursor as well. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry. So sorry for that. Yeah, I was saying that you can view the entire maturity score on a single view, where each of the security functions are put in here, and you have the readiness achieved, and you have the readiness gap score here, which will show you what your current readiness gaps are, how many percent, how many maturity scores you have to achieve in terms of taking your maturity to the security posture to the next level, right? So again, you can simply click on any of the security practices, which will again take you to in-depth dive into that particular security practice. So you see the governance is the business functions, and under governance you have the policy and compliance. So again, you can see the overall business functions here, governance, design, implementation, verification. So you can sort it as however you want, and you have the security practices scores individually here, right? So if you look at the education and guidance, your current score is 1.5, right? And your policy and compliance, your maturity score is 2.25, and your strategy and metrics is 1.63. So again, you can see the readiness factor for this particular compliance, policy and compliance, right? What is your gap? So your gap on this particular level 3 is 1, and you can see the overall maturity achieved. And again, the scores on last 3 months, right? So this is the trend that you can see on which date what has been changed. So again, if you go down, you can see your actual the maturity assessment factors, where you can look at the maturity questions and understand what exactly it is. And we have this role-based access control where you have admin, you have user, and you have an auditor, right? So the respective stakeholders that you wanted to interview will be the users, and obviously you will be the auditor, security auditor, right? So where you wanted to understand, where you wanted to review what they do, and you wanted to review their scores. If you give them blindly, they'll say yes, yes, no, no, yes, yes, no, right? So but here we added a couple of checkpoints for them, right? So this is the assessment factor. They understand the assessment factor, and based on that they need to answer whether yes, no. Do you have a complete picture of your external compliance obligations? If it is yes, yes for most of the applications, then go and they'll have to enter their comment. They'll have to, how they're saying that, they'll have to satisfy the security auditor at the end of the day, right? Because we don't want to blindly believe them. If they say they follow, they have a policy document, when was the policy document actually updated last, right? Has it been reviewed lately anytime, right? They'll have to enter their feedback, and you can actually review any of the older comments. This can be back and forth, right? So they'll have to upload the artifacts for this. If they say they have the entire plan ready, then they'll have to upload it here and click done. Once they do that, it will be immediately notified to the concerned auditor, where the auditor can look at the artifacts that the user has uploaded, and if he has any feedback, say for example, the policy document has not been uploaded or updated for a very long time. This policy document looks very old, so you need to upgrade the syllabus, for example, in the training. So you can actually enter the comment and reject the maturity score here. If they claim that they have full maturity on this, you can actually review as a security auditor and respond to them saying whether it is actually matured enough to be in the right place, or they're still half the way through. That you can actually provide the review and feedback right and there, and send them back so that they can work on it and come back to you and work on, and then you can do the maturity scores, provide them the maturity scores, right? So again, if you want to go to different business functions, you can directly go to the say for example security testing if you want to, right? So let me quickly go ahead and yes, most of them. And so when we give most of these scores as yes, and so you can actually see the maturity achieved as changed, right? So this will gradually reflect in the dashboard as well. Your score will vary in the dashboard as well. So again, you can have multiple profiles that you can add. You can add a user as an auditor or user. You can have multiple profiles. So and then you can also generate a report for individual security practices. You can export as PDF if you want. So which will give you the score only for this particular project, business functions. And you can also generate and filter the overall reports, right? So you want the user-based report, or you want the the security practices report, or so let me keep it blank. I think, yeah. Just select. So you can actually filter the reports that you wanted to have, and then send it across to multiple stakeholders that you wanted to show. So it will actually tell you what the answer has been given, and who was the user, and what was the comment, and when this has been done. basically you will have the entire things that has been happened with the portal. Right.
So Sathish,
I think, yes.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to know if you had many slides left or more to show, because we already have 3 questions from the people.
Yes, I think I'm almost done. I'll just quickly jump to my presentation, and I wanted to conclude. So the thing that we have is, of course, automated interview, where you can actually send add the users to the portal, and then give them the access to the portal, so they can log in and review the scores and update their maturity level. And again, you can actually transfer the reports, and the reporting is built in, so which we are trying to again remediate the existing features and include the roadmap feature, the next thing that we are trying to work on, and then the notification, instant notification. And then this review has been doing currently having it manually, so we want to automate this with some AI in place, so which we are currently working on. I think I'm good, Pat.
Great. One of the questions from Stefan, I think he meant adapt. It's, can we adapt the dashboard to our own modified SAMM?
Yes, definitely. I mean, this is again, this model is built based on the SAMM. You can definitely customize it. So customize as in it is just changing the assessment factor that you wanted to actually change. I understand from the question, right? So you can actually change the assessment factor, which will obviously give you the new version of the dashboard.
Great. Carlos is asking if the dashboard is free for use by the community. The quick answer is yes.
Yes, yes, it is already available, but we are just trying to update few of the things there, but it is ready to use. You can it is there in the SAMM GitHub page. You can download and directly deploy it within your environment.
Okay, so we have another question about the slides,
yes.
saying if they will be available after, and yes, they will. So check our website for that, OWASP.sam.org. Then, is there any specific view, such security champion view or CISO view?
Yeah, we are still trying to customize the dashboards, but at this point of time, we have the overall view. But again, you can, when you filter that, you can generate these security champion view or the CISO view in the reports. At this point of time, we have the standard dashboards, which I showcased. But we will have it in future. We are working on it already. That will be added to the existing feature.
Okay, Frank asks how secure the dashboard is.
Yes, we are parallelly working on taking care of the security as well. Of course, it is open source, so we definitely request everybody's contribution here to this basic security measures is done from our team, which we are still doing it. And since we are adding multiple features on a daily basis, we are working on it. But again, we would definitely look for your help as well on performing the assessments. Since it is open source, we welcome everybody to take care of the security.
Sure. And finally, one more question. Can we add some comments to explain context? I think you showed a place where
yes,
you could write
definitely
comments.
You can add. Yeah, you can add comments. So that was the intention actually. So you have to add the comments and artifacts, so to explain that you are satisfying the end auditor